Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you tried to defuse an argument or calm someone down, only to realize that your words made things worse? Sometimes, the phrases we think are harmless or even helpful can unintentionally create tension in our relationships. Some words, no matter how well-intended, can deeply undermine the trust and respect we're trying to build with others. Especially when it comes to women, there are certain phrases that can cause lasting damage. In today's video, we're going to explore 5 common phrases that men often say, sometimes without thinking, that can cause women to lose respect for them. These phrases may seem like small, innocent words, but their impact is far greater than you might imagine. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without it, a relationship can quickly start to crumble, no matter how much love or attraction is present. When respect is lacking, trust begins to deteriorate, communication becomes strained, and emotional distance sets in. Women, just like men, want to feel valued and heard in a relationship. They want to feel like their thoughts, emotions, and experiences are validated, not dismissed or belittled. However, when certain phrases are used, they can unintentionally send the message that her emotions don't matter. Worse, it can imply that she's being irrational or that her feelings aren't worthy of consideration. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these 5 phrases are damaging and, more importantly, you'll learn what you can say instead. If you want to build stronger, healthier relationships and ensure that your words are always contributing to mutual respect, this video is for you. We'll talk about how to express empathy, understanding, and support in ways that will leave both you and the women you care about feeling heard, respected, and valued. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever experienced someone telling you one of these phrases? How did it make you feel? Or maybe you've used one of these phrases yourself. What happened afterward? Share your thoughts with us, and let's have a conversation about how we can all communicate better and build stronger relationships. Have you ever heard the phrase, "you're overreacting"? It's one of those expressions that might seem innocuous in the heat of the moment, but when it's said, it has the power to escalate tension rather than diffuse it. This phrase is often used when one partner, often a man in this case, perceives their significant other's emotional reaction as excessive or unwarranted. Maybe she's upset over something you think is trivial, or maybe she's angry or frustrated, and you believe her response is disproportionate. In these moments, the words "you're overreacting" can easily slip out without much thought. But here's the thing. No matter how rational you might think the situation is, the other person's feelings are always valid to them. When a woman expresses herself emotionally, whether it's through anger, sadness, or frustration, those emotions are real to her, and they deserve to be heard and respected. So when you tell her that she's overreacting, you're dismissing her emotional reality. You're essentially saying that what she feels is not important, or that her emotional state isn't justifiable. Saying you're overreacting might seem like an attempt to correct what you perceive as an exaggerated response, but in reality, it's incredibly dismissive. It invalidates her experience and implies that her emotions are not worthy of serious consideration. Women, like everyone else, have unique emotional responses to situations based on their experiences, perceptions, and inner world. Telling someone that they are overreacting immediately signals that their perspective is inferior to yours, and that's a quick way to erode respect. Think about it. When you're upset or frustrated, you likely want to be heard, understood, and validated. You want someone to acknowledge your feelings, not brush them off as trivial or exaggerated. When you tell her she's overreacting, it can feel like you're telling her that her emotions are silly, that she shouldn't feel the way she does, and that her perspective doesn't matter. This is particularly harmful in relationships because it creates a power imbalance where one partner's feelings are deemed less important than the other's. One of the most dangerous impacts of telling someone they're overreacting is the damage it does to trust. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship, and without it, everything else falls apart. When a woman feels like her emotional expressions are continually invalidated, it can cause her to withdraw, shut down, or start questioning whether her partner truly values or understands her. Over time, this can create a deep sense of emotional distance as she begins to feel like she's not allowed to be fully herself around you. She may even feel that expressing her emotions is futile because, no matter what she says, you'll dismiss it as overreaction. Imagine if every time you opened up about something that bothered you, Your partner responded by telling you that you were overreacting. Eventually, you'd stop sharing your thoughts and feelings because you'd feel unheard. It's only natural that when trust is broken in this way, the relationship itself begins to crack. Instead of telling her she's overreacting, try to understand the root cause of her emotions and validate her feelings. A great way to do this is by saying something like, "I can see this is really upsetting you, and I want to understand why." This shows that you're not dismissing her emotional experience, but are open to hearing her out. A simple acknowledgement like, "I understand you're upset," can go a long way in making her feel heard and supported. It's important to remember that the goal of any conflict is resolution, not victory. Rather than trying to win an argument or prove that she's overreacting, focus on working together to figure out what's bothering her and how both of you can address it. Use phrases like, "Let's figure this out together," which puts the emphasis on collaboration rather than criticism. This approach not only fosters better communication, but also nurtures respect and trust within the relationship. Furthermore, be mindful of your tone and body language. Sometimes, it's not just the words we say, but the way we say them that affects the other person. If you can soften your approach and genuinely try to understand her perspective, the situation is far less likely to spiral into an argument. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever heard the phrase, "you're overreacting" in your relationships? How did it make you feel when you heard it? Or maybe you've used this phrase yourself without realizing its impact. What happened afterward? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you handled situations where emotions were high and how you managed to resolve them respectfully. Let's learn together how we can build better, more understanding relationships. I told you so. Just hearing these words can make your stomach drop, right? This phrase is often uttered when someone is proven right after a disagreement or decision that didn't go the way the other person expected. It's commonly used when one partner believes that the other should have listened to their advice, especially after an unfortunate outcome. While it may seem like a simple way to express "I was right," the reality is that this phrase has a tendency to come off as extremely condescending. When someone says, "I told you so," it's not just the content of the words that's problematic, but the tone in which they're often delivered. It can feel as though the speaker is rubbing the other person's mistake in their face, rather than offering support or guidance. The phrase conveys a sense of superiority, implying that one partner knows better than the other. This can create an imbalance in the relationship, where one person is seen as the authority while the other is left feeling belittled or small. At the core, the phrase "I told you so" is disrespectful because it undermines the person being spoken to. It doesn't simply acknowledge that you were correct. It also highlights that the other person made a mistake. It's an accusation wrapped in the guise of an affirmation. When a woman hears this, it can feel as though she's being told that her judgment was flawed or that she wasn't capable of making a wise decision without the other person's input. Think about it. When we make decisions, we all want to feel like our choices are valid and respected. But when someone turns around and says, "I told you so," it immediately invalidates those decisions. Rather than offering an opportunity for growth or understanding, it reinforces feelings of inadequacy or shame. It's a subtle way of saying, "You didn't know better," and this can have a profound impact on her self-esteem and confidence in the relationship. Moreover, using "I told you so" often signals a lack of empathy. Instead of understanding why the other person made the decision they did, this phrase only highlights the outcome of their choices, leaving no room for discussion or emotional support. It's judgmental and patronizing, making it clear that one person feels superior to the other. Using "I told you so" doesn't just create tension in the moment. It can lead to an ongoing cycle of resentment and frustration. Every time you use this phrase, it reminds the other person of their mistake, creating emotional distance between both partners. While one may think it's just a way to prove a point, the other person might feel a deeper sense of bitterness building up. Over time, this pattern can lead to a communication breakdown. The woman may feel less inclined to share her thoughts or decisions with her partner, fearing that they will be met with judgment or dismissal. The trust that was once shared in the relationship begins to erode, as one partner may start to doubt that they can be themselves without facing criticism. In relationships, both parties should feel like they are on equal footing, partners in every sense. Using "I told you so" turns the relationship into a power struggle, where one person's ideas or decisions are constantly put down, and the other person is left trying to defend themselves. This not only creates conflict but also stifles mutual growth, as it prevents open conversations about mistakes and learning from them together. Instead of using "I told you so," consider reframing your response to encourage growth and learning in the relationship. One alternative approach could be saying, "We can learn from this together." This acknowledges the situation without putting the other person on the defensive. It shifts the focus from blame to understanding, creating space for both partners to discuss what happened and how they can move forward. For example, if a decision didn't go as planned, you might say, "I understand why you made that choice, and while it didn't work out as expected, we can take this as a learning opportunity." This approach not only shows empathy, but also reinforces that both partners are equals in the relationship. Mistakes are simply opportunities for growth rather than proof of one person's superiority. Another way to approach the situation is to provide support and offer solutions. Rather than dwelling on the past, focus on how you can move forward together. You could say something like, "I know that didn't go as planned, but we can work together to find a solution." This reinforces the idea of teamwork, rather than one person being right and the other wrong. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been on the receiving end of an "I told you so"? How did it make you feel, and how did you handle it? Or maybe you've used this phrase without realizing its impact. What happened afterward? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and let's talk about how we can all build healthier, more supportive relationships. We've all heard it before. "It's not that big of a deal." Maybe it's said in response to something that feels significant to us in the moment. Whether it's a disagreement, a personal issue, or a concern, these words are often used to brush aside emotions that the other person is feeling. When a woman is expressing herself, whether she's upset, worried, or feeling hurt, telling her, "It's not that big of a deal," can be extremely dismissive. It's as if the gravity of her feelings is being reduced to something insignificant. This phrase is commonly used when one partner doesn't fully understand or doesn't feel the same level of concern as the other. Instead of acknowledging the emotions involved, the phrase minimizes the issue, telling the other person that their feelings aren't important enough to warrant attention. It's often used as a way to avoid conflict or uncomfortable conversations, but unfortunately, this only adds to the disconnect. Imagine you're upset about something important to you, and your partner responds with, "It's not that big of a deal." How would that make you feel? You might feel dismissed or invalidated, as though your emotions aren't worthy of being heard. And that can lead to frustration, confusion, and emotional distance between partners. Telling someone, "It's not that big of a deal," is disrespectful because it dismisses the validity of their feelings. Emotions are complex and personal. What may seem trivial to one person can feel significant to another. When someone says this phrase, it essentially tells the other person that their emotional experience isn't worthy of attention or consideration. For example, let's say a woman is feeling hurt by something her partner said. When she expresses her feelings, instead of validating her concerns, he tells her, "It's not that big of a deal." This can make her feel like her emotional response is unnecessary or exaggerated. It trivializes what she's going through, even though it may have been a deeply emotional experience for her. This phrase doesn't allow for any kind of meaningful conversation. Instead of engaging with the other person's feelings, it shuts them down. And when someone's feelings are continuously minimized or invalidated, it can lead to emotional disconnect and resentment. The woman may start to feel like her emotions don't matter or that she's not being heard, which ultimately damages the respect in the relationship. One of the most important aspects of a healthy relationship is emotional safety. Emotional safety means that both partners can be vulnerable with each other, share their thoughts and feelings openly, and know that they will be respected and understood. However, when someone repeatedly hears, "It's not that big of a deal," it creates an environment where they feel unsafe to express themselves. Imagine trying to open up about something that's been bothering you, only to be told that it's insignificant. Over time, this can lead to a fear of expressing oneself altogether. The woman might start holding back her feelings or avoid having difficult conversations because she knows they will be dismissed. This emotional suppression creates a barrier between the two partners, preventing honest communication and mutual support. Emotional safety isn't just about feeling comfortable to speak your mind. It's about knowing that your partner will treat your emotions with care and respect. When "it's not that big of a deal" is used, it communicates the opposite. that emotions don't deserve care or respect. This erodes the trust and safety needed to have open, honest conversations. Instead of downplaying someone's emotions with, "It's not that big of a deal," try offering a more thoughtful and empathetic response. For instance, you could say, "I can see why this is important to you. Let's talk about it." This response validates the other person's emotions and invites a deeper conversation. It acknowledges that their feelings are valid and that their concerns deserve attention. Another alternative is to ask open-ended questions that encourage the person to share more about what they're going through. You could say, "Tell me more about why this is bothering you," or "I want to understand how this is affecting you." This shows genuine interest and creates a space where both partners can express their feelings without fear of judgment or dismissal. By being empathetic and engaging in a productive conversation, you foster an environment of emotional safety where both partners can feel supported, heard, and respected. I'd love to hear your experiences. Have you ever been told, "It's not that big of a deal"? How did it make you feel, and how did it impact your relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss how we can all communicate better and create more emotionally safe relationships. "You should be grateful" is a phrase that, when used in relationships, carries a weight of manipulation and control. This phrase is often employed in moments where one partner feels their efforts, no matter how small, aren't being sufficiently acknowledged. Instead of focusing on mutual appreciation and support, it attempts to guilt the other person into feeling thankful for something that should be expected in a healthy relationship. Imagine a situation where a woman is upset because her partner hasn't contributed to a task or shared responsibility. Instead of understanding her frustration, he responds with, "You should be grateful I even did this for you." What this phrase essentially does is demand gratitude for actions that may be basic, expected, or even minimal. Instead of an equal partnership, it implies that the woman should feel indebted, as though her partner is doing her a favor by fulfilling basic responsibilities or showing any form of care. It's a phrase often used to dismiss the other person's needs and emotions by placing the burden of gratitude on them. The intention behind it is manipulative. It shifts the focus from a genuine exchange of appreciation to a one-sided power dynamic. The phrase "you should be grateful" is disrespectful for several reasons, but most notably because it undermines the foundation of equality in a relationship. A healthy partnership is based on mutual respect, where both individuals feel valued for their contributions, big or small. This phrase, however, shifts the power in a way that diminishes one person's worth while elevating the other. The implication of this phrase is that one person has done something extraordinary, even when the action might have been a minimal gesture or even a regular part of their responsibilities. Telling someone "you should be grateful" suggests that the other person's feelings of dissatisfaction or need for acknowledgement are irrelevant. It places the responsibility of gratitude on them, without acknowledging their own feelings of unappreciated effort or neglect. It also assumes that the person should feel indebted to the other for something that is, in reality, a basic expectation in a partnership. For example, if a partner simply does a household chore that was previously agreed upon, saying "you should be grateful" ignores the fact that this is part of their shared responsibility. Instead of creating a space for appreciation on both sides, it fosters a sense of obligation and emotional manipulation. One of the most damaging aspects of "you should be grateful" is the way it creates an imbalance in the power dynamics of the relationship. This phrase reinforces the idea that one person is superior to the other, holding the power to dictate gratitude. Over time, this can lead to resentment and emotional disconnection. When this phrase is used repeatedly, it creates a sense of emotional indebtedness in the partner who is being told to be grateful. Instead of feeling like an equal participant in the relationship, the woman may begin to feel like she is in someone's debt. This dynamic leads to a shift in the relationship where one person's needs and emotions are minimized, while the other person takes on a controlling role. In such a scenario, the partner who is expected to be grateful may feel undervalued or manipulated. They might feel that their needs and contributions are taken for granted, while the other partner positions themselves as the one who does enough to warrant gratitude. This power imbalance erodes the sense of equality that should be at the core of any healthy relationship. Instead of using "you should be grateful," a much healthier approach to communication would be to express genuine appreciation for one another's efforts. For example, a more productive phrase might be, "I'm happy to do this for you," and I appreciate everything you do as well. This response not only conveys that you are willing to contribute and support, but also acknowledges that both partners have something valuable to offer. It avoids creating a sense of indebtedness and instead fosters mutual respect and gratitude. In addition to expressing gratitude, it's important to acknowledge the efforts of both partners. Saying something like, "Thank you for all you do. I couldn't do this without you," creates a space for both individuals to feel valued for the roles they play in the relationship. It's a simple but powerful way of showing appreciation that strengthens emotional connection and reinforces a balanced, equal partnership. Reframing the way we speak in relationships can go a long way in building respect, trust, and understanding. When we focus on mutual appreciation instead of manipulation, we create a space for growth and connection. Have you ever been told, "You should be grateful in a relationship"? How did it make you feel, and how did it affect your connection with the other person? Share your experiences in the comments below, and let's talk about how we can break these unhealthy communication patterns and foster more respectful relationships. As we've explored throughout this video, certain phrases, while commonly used in everyday conversations, can have a detrimental impact on relationships. The phrases "calm down," "you're overreacting," "I told you so," "it's not that big of a deal," and "you should be grateful" all carry a level of disrespect that can undermine trust, emotional safety, and overall communication. These seemingly innocent words can leave lasting emotional scars, making the other person feel unheard, belittled, or undervalued. It's essential to remember that communication is the cornerstone of any strong relationship, especially when it comes to maintaining respect and understanding. A healthy relationship thrives on mutual appreciation and thoughtful exchanges. Every word we say has the potential to either build up or break down the connection we share with our partners. So, when we use phrases that dismiss the other person's emotions, invalidate their experiences, or create power imbalances, we damage that crucial foundation of trust and respect. But here's the good news: change is within our control. Becoming more mindful of the phrases we use can make a profound difference. Small adjustments in our language can have a significant impact on our relationships. Instead of using dismissive or manipulative language, we can replace those phrases with empathetic, understanding alternatives. For example, saying, "I understand you're upset. Let's talk about it," shows that you're not only acknowledging your partner's feelings, but are also open to resolving the issue together. By reframing our words, we shift the dynamic from conflict to cooperation, fostering a deeper connection and mutual respect. This video is an invitation to reflect on the language we use and how it shapes our relationships. The power to create change begins with awareness. Start paying attention to how you communicate, especially in moments of conflict or tension. Do you tend to use phrases that may unintentionally hurt or belittle your partner? Or do you express empathy and understanding? The key is to be intentional with your words and to treat your partner's emotions with the care and respect they deserve. I encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Have you encountered any of these phrases in your relationships, or maybe even used them yourself? Let's open up a dialogue about how we can break unhealthy communication patterns and replace them with words that build trust, respect, and love. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more tips on how to improve your relationships and communication skills. Remember, change doesn't have to happen all at once, but every small shift in how we communicate can lead to healthier, more respectful relationships. So, let's start today by being mindful of the language we use and creating stronger connections with the people who matter most to us. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.